Hello everybody, welcome back to this SUPboarder video. In this review video, I'm going to give you a review of the Aztron Surfskate range. Yes, so this is definitely a little bit different from a standard SUPboarder video, as in we are not talking about any SUPs or any wings or any foils in this video. We are talking about skateboards. Now, skateboards are actually a really important part of progressing as a SUPper and especially a SUP surfer. I cannot stress this enough. I've been skateboarding for a few years now. I'm no half pipe or mini ramp wizard. I'm just a very old granddad of a skateboarder, but it does really help my surfing and SUP surfing. And these new style of skateboards, which you may or may not be familiar with at the moment, really do have a very good place in our market. So these are Surfskate skateboards. So what does that basically mean? A Surfskate skateboard is essentially a skateboard that you can generate speed and movement without even putting your feet down on the ground. And with these boards and many other boards that are available on the market, you can even generate speed and movement going up a slight incline as well. And this, to be honest, is the first time I've actually used surf skateboards. This range of Surfskates is another range of products Aztron have brought out in 2021. A couple of years ago, they first brought out iSUPs, then they had composite boards. Now they have a huge range of accessories, and now they have surfboards, they have Surfskates, they have wetsuits, they have lots and lots of lifestyle equipment. Now, the good thing about Aztron is now they are available in a lot of shops all around the world. They are very competitive price points. You would say they are not trying to be the most extreme or the top end premium products out there. They're trying to give you a very good value product to get you into a new discipline, a new side of the sport, a new lifestyle side of the sport like this here. So what makes Surfskate skateboards so different from the other traditional skateboards you might have seen or tried to stand on in the past? Well, it's all to do with the trucks, the bearings and the wheels. Allows you to pump and squeeze the board with your front and back leg to initiate that forward motion. Now, the reason that forward motion is so key when it comes to surf skating is it's exactly the same forward motion as when you are SUP surfing or surfing. When you are squeezing and generating speed on a wave, that flow and that generation of speed is exactly the same on these skateboards as it is if you're on a wave. Now, the reason these new surf skateboards are very different and becoming more popular compared to your more traditional skateboard is that these boards are much easier to use. For a start, there's a lot more stuff set up on these boards that allows you to get into skateboarding if you're not a skateboarder. But getting onto a board like these Surfskates is a really easy and comfortable way to get into the skateboarding side of the sport, even if you feel like you're getting a bit too old to learn new tricks. With the big wheels, the relatively wide trucks, it does make it quite easy to stand on, and it makes it very easy for you to get into skateboarding. For example, Lucy from SUPboarder has done very, very minimal skateboarding, probably 5 times in her life, to be honest, but she is into SUP surfing. She's obviously heavily into SUP touring, and she does like a little bit of prone surfing as well. Lucy really enjoyed using these Surfskates and soon started to get the feel of how to move herself along and also the similarities to surfing as well. So these boards can really help your surfing technique. And I personally was a little bit surprised how good they felt and how similar they felt to actually surfing on a wave in general. So the Aztron range itself, it consists of 4 boards. It consists of the smaller board up to the larger board. You start off with the 31-inch street, which has 65mm wheels, ABEX 7 bearings, which basically means it's really smooth running. and a wood maple deck. And that one retails at £99, so it's a really cheap price point board that's available in shops. Moving up inside, you've got the Forest, which is 34 inches long, a little bit longer than the Street. It's got the same wheels, the same bearings, and the same trucks as the Street, and that retails at £119. Going up size again, you've got the Ocean, and that's a 36-inch board. The construction's very similar, except it's got a carbon layer underneath your standing area, gives the board a little bit more stiffness in the middle. That's finished off with 70mm wheels, so a little bit bigger than the smaller two. Same trucks and ABEC 9 bearings. Retails £139. And then you've got the Space, which is the biggest board. That's 40 inches long. It's got the same bearings, wheels and trucks as the smaller Ocean. Construction for that, the same as the Ocean. It's got a maple deck with a carbon stringer underneath, and that retails at £159. For me personally, I'm always looking for ways to improve my surfing really as quick as possible, because I would love to spend my whole time riding a constant wave, but even when we go surfing, we're only riding the waves for maybe 20-30 seconds at a time if you're getting a good long wave. And in that time, you've got to, worry about your paddle strokes, you've got to get your maneuvers in, you've got to get your timing, you've got to make sure you get a good wave in the first place. So having the ability to go out and down the street or in your driveway and try a bit of carving, get those techniques of the cutbacks, get your bottom turn techniques all sorted out on land really is something that I'm very, very interested in. And when I realized that these weren't actually that expensive, I was even more interested in it, because at the end of the day, I'm spending most of my money is on SUP surfing stuff, SUP foiling stuff, winging stuff. I'm not really focusing on the skateboard so much, but the price point does get me really interested in realizing I could have this as a tool to help me improve and have fun while doing that. So to give you an idea about why there is 4 boards and which board would be best for you and what board would be best for what conditions or what sort of concrete you're going to be using it on, I suppose. Well, it's just the same as when you're looking at SUPs. The smaller SUPs are always going to be more maneuverable and they're going to be easier to turn. It's exactly the same with this. So the smaller Street is going to be a much faster board, much carbier board. It's going to pivot in a faster arc. You're going to be able to simulate the feel for more performance boards on a wave, and then scaling up from there is obviously going to slow the turns down, but it does mean you can go faster overall. So from a pumping sense, when you're trying to get these boards going, the smaller board will be easier to initiate that forward momentum, easier for you to actually get the feel of the stance that you have to do to get yourself moving. But when you go up a size, they will get a little bit harder to use to initiate that pump, but when you're going, they're going to be quicker. So if you're going to take your Surfskate down to the shops, you'd go on the bigger 2 boards, definitely, because you're going to get there quicker. You're going to be able to get this board moving with a few kicks off the ground, and then get that flow and get that speed going for your pumps. If you're looking to go into a skate park or do a little bit more maneuvers or just muck about in front of your driveway, in front of your house, the smaller boards are going to turn tighter. They're going to be able to form tighter turns, basically exactly the same as any other surfing craft out there. But also bear in mind, if you're a taller or heavier person, the bigger boards will be better for you as well. Just like paddleboarding again, if you're a 6'5" person, you're probably not going to be on a smaller baseboard. You're probably going to be on a more of a mid-length or longer baseboard. And that's exactly the same with the Surfskate range. For me personally, 75 kilos, I quite like my smaller, tighter turning surfing style. I would either go for the Street or the Forest. I probably would go with the Forest. It's a little bit longer so I can generate a bit more speed. The important thing to mention with this is you can actually go up slight inclines with these boards. It's not just about going out on the flat or finding a slight downhill. You can actually generate quite a bit of speed on a slight incline up. I was amazed and I didn't realize how much speed you can actually generate going up a hill. So with good technique, you're going to be able to move these boards uphill. All of them as well, but you might need to push off and get a bit more speed going first with the 2 bigger boards. Talking about technique, it's something that isn't hard to achieve with these boards. It's not going to take you a long time to work out how to pump and get the flow going and speed going with these Surfskates. Definitely a little tip to get you started off on the Surfskates. Get a slight little downhill, very, very slightly. Get yourself moving and then start rocking the board from side to side with your front leg, trying to push both your knees forwards and lean more weight onto your front leg. and slowly increase how much you carve. And the more you carve, you will find the more speed you slightly generate. It is a real feeling thing, and as I say, it's exactly the same when you're surfing as well. Look at pros and cons and value for money. Well, big pro, we're going to bring the value for money in here. The price point of all these boards is really good. You can get them in lots of shops all around the world, so you are going to be able to maybe even have a try on them before you buy them. They are very competitive to other Surfskate manufacturers of boards you can buy on the internet. I've done a bit of searching around. There are some other ones you could possibly find at the same price point, but most are much more money than that. The downsides or the cons or the stuff you're going to be aware of, like always, you do pay for what you get. They are cheaper based trucks on these boards. Maybe the wheels won't last as long. Maybe I would worry about that more if you're a hardcore skater or somebody who's going to be using it day in and day out. And I would say maybe opt for a more expensive board. But from a cheaper price point, if it's something you're going to dabble in and just hopefully improve, I think they're absolutely adequate. And I also think the construction and the materials that all the boards are made out of is perfect for us as sort of lifestyle users of these Surfskates. So I hope you found that review interesting and informative. I think these style boards are really going to help you improve your technique, confidence and balance with your supping and especially your sup surfing. If you've got any questions and comments as always, or if you've used these boards, please let us know. If you're more of a dedicated skateboarder and you've used these boards, or you've got other boards that you maybe want to mention, please write them in the comments description below. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on another video real soon.